Greetings and konnichiwa, and welcome to the Onyx Tavern. I'm your host Rick the Bard, keep bringing you episode 157 here at the tavern, presented by Hirotaku.com. So here we are. We now have the reveal of the new suits for the upcoming Power Rangers movie, and... okay. So here's what I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm going to start out this video by commenting on the suits themselves, what we have here. I'm going to try and address as many different things that people have brought up in the last couple of days and give you guys my own opinion on it. And then I want to kind of broaden the discussion to what I like to call spandex versus armor, because these new suits are indicative of a trend that's happening in superhero films, in reboots of a lot of older franchises from the 80s and the 90s, and I just think it's time to address that as a whole. I alluded to it in the previous video as something we need to go ahead and discuss, but I didn't think we were going to discuss it on the very next video, but because of the release of these suits, now's a good time to go ahead and discuss it. So, what do I think about the new Power Ranger suits? In a word, bad. Yeah, I mean, you guys are looking at it right now. You've had a couple of days to look at the images, and of course that's why I'm commenting now, because I've had time to actually look at the images, see what we have, maybe wait for some later leaks to come out, and ultimately, this is what we're getting. I honestly, when I looked at it, I thought it was a fake photo. It looks like really bad fan art. It honestly does, because it completely misses the point of the Power Ranger suits. All right, let's talk about a couple of things first. Both Raptor and Adargo brought up this point to me. They look like Iron Man suits, and that's probably no coincidence. Because of the popularity of the Avengers films and the popularity of Iron Man, they decided, hey, we're going to make them look like Iron Man. I mean, seriously, look at their chests. They look like they have arc reactors on their chests, just like Iron Man. Somebody had taken an Iron Man SH Figuarts and swapped out the Red Ranger helmet on it, and, it's pretty much the same thing. So, getting that out of the way, it honestly does look like Iron Man. It does look like what they kind of did with the Transformers, and again, I will get into more of that in the broader topic here. They glow in the dark, apparently. They have this circuitry, or these what look like fiber optics, they're on the suits that light up. I don't get that. I don't know why they kind of need to glow in the dark. You'll also notice what appears to be from these girls, they have what they call wedges. I don't know much about fashion, but what my understanding is, they are high heels that are completely filled in. They're not just like the high heel thing sticking up. Now, here's the thing. I never understood why high heels are things that women wear for superhero films. The only time it ever made sense to me was in The Dark Knight Rises with Catwoman, because she used it to pin a guy to the wall and try to choke him and all that. But beyond that, there is no real practical purpose for it, and they're doing it here with the girls, which makes me wonder why they're doing it, because not for a single instance in the history of Power Rangers, or Sentai for that matter, have they actually used high heels. They have all had normal boots, just like the men. So why are we giving them high heels now? What's the purpose of that? I'm not understanding that at all. So something, and people have been commenting about the boob plates on the girls. Practically that actually makes sense if you think about it. I mean, is it sexist? I don't know how to really answer that question, but women have boobs and you need to protect them, right? I mean, it seems to me like that's something you'd want to go ahead and do. So I am not particularly irked or concerned about the boob plates that they have, because it does seem like it's a natural thing. But then again, what do I know about that? I don't know anything about armor, but it does seem like it is natural. Okay. The next thing, look at the morphers, or what appears to be the morphers. You'll notice that they don't have belts, that it is formed into the suit, which is alright for an armored look to it. But are we saying that these are the morphers themselves, and that they're stuck in there, and that's their power coin? They don't even look like power coins. They look like LED light ups. They don't look like power coins, and from the best I can tell, I can't even see the dinosaur symbols. And let's get to that point too. Look at the helmets. With the notable exception of the Red Ranger, none of these helmets look like their respected animals. Blue Ranger, no way looks like a Triceratops. Pink Ranger, not at all like a pterodactyl. Black Ranger, I don't see any mastodon or elephant figure in that. And do not tell me that the Yellow Ranger is a saber-toothed tiger, because I don't see that at all. There appears to be some sort of texture on the helmets, which may indicate either fur or scales, but that looks in no way like the dinosaurs. The Pink Ranger probably gets the closest because of the way it kind of wraps around, but not really. And the Red Ranger, honestly, our Red Ranger looks like a mix between the Mighty Morphin Red Ranger and Megaforce Gosei Red. It really kind of looks like that. And also, they got the diamond shape on the chest for their little chest arc reactor symbols, but where are the rest of the diamonds on the uniforms? Because the diamond shape, whether you guys actually knew this or not, the diamond shape was supposed to represent teeth. Kind of like how teeth are chomping down. Now, the idea was refined later in Abba Ranger, so of course that's why they have those, diamond patterns on those suits, but that was the general concept that they had with the Zoo Ranger costumes, which of course was in the Mighty Morphin. Now, I did talk about how bringing Rita over, there's no particular backstory, but here's the thing about the Mighty Morphin suits that I think is exclusive to them, is that why do we have the Mighty Morphin stuff on everything nowadays? And what I mean is, like, you go on the Hot Topic, you go to the Redbubble, you look online, everybody's got something Mighty Morphin related on there. They don't go over Time Force or Wild Force. You don't see merchandise out there for Operation Overdrive anymore. They specifically go back to the Mighty Morphin era. Now, one of the reasons I would argue they do that is because it is an iconic look. You look at that, you know it's the Power Rangers. I mean, you look at other Rangers, now some people would say that looks like a ripoff, that looks like a parody of a Power Ranger, but this is the standard visually that everybody looks to as to what a Power Ranger is. So if something looks vaguely like it, it is a Power Ranger because that's what's ingrained in our memories, and it is, honestly, an iconic look. It is one of the best looking suits in Sentai and Power Rangers history, not for being the first, but for being one of the best looking. I honestly don't see how you can actually compare this to the originals and say that they're the same suits. I mean, if you this looks like bad fan art. I'm sorry, it really does. It looks like bad fan art. I don't even know if this is a real image. This looks like more like a digital image or something that was drawn in a computer, as opposed to people actually standing on a stage wearing these suits. It doesn't look like it at all. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is a digital image. Are the suits probably going to be digital images for the film like they did in Green Lantern? Likely not. It may be kind of a combination of what they did with Iron Man, where things are real and CG, most likely. And that seems to be the direction that they're going, because they really went out of their way to make this look like Iron Man armor. I guess on the positive, it's symmetrical, and, that's pleasing to the eye, but beyond that, I just don't get these costumes. I really don't. Where is the iconic dinosaur imagery? Where are the diamond images on the chest? Why is it armor? Why is it not spandex? And that's why I want to go into the bigger issue here. But just kind of as a final word on these suits, I don't like them. I hope that, okay, if the story is good, I am willing to forgive it. But seriously, this is what you're going to bank your franchise on. This is going to be the iconography for the series. Because, in the article to Entertainment Weekly, and I'm going to go ahead and have the link here for you guys to go ahead and check out, is that, and here's a direct quote from the article, is that, you can't win everyone over, but we are trying to appeal to a more mature audience and gain new fans. Now, just from that quote alone here, okay, appeal to a more mature audience. I get it. That's a great idea. I love that. But how does making it armor and ripping off Iron Man and completely ditching the dinosaur motif, because that's, again, what it looks like, how is that going to appeal to a mature audience? Because here's the ultimate problem I have with designs like this. And let's take a look at the Transformers, where I was suckered into seeing 3 of those movies in the theater because I actually thought as they progressed along they would actually get better. I was mistaken, which is why I've not seen Age of Extinction yet, and I have no idea about this 5th, 6th movies that got coming out whatever. Um the problem I have with the Transformers and their design is that you look at the original G1 Transformers and Optimus Prime, that's an iconic look. When you look at the CG movie, they don't want you to look at it. It's got so many moving parts, it never stays still, it's never in direct sunlight or even light for an extended period of time. It's such a hodgepodge and a mess, it's ugly to look at. Where you could have taken the original G1 design and made it real. But instead, you decide to completely redesign it for no other reason than to make it hard for people to look at. I mean, you look at these suits; they don't stand out. They have all these things to distract you. It's busy. It's too busy is the problem. It's not simple. It's not concise. That's one of the problems I think people have with the Zoojer outfits that come out is that they were too busy. They had too much of a design going on, and I know Raptor. That's one of the issues he had with the not Zoojer, Kyryuger costumes is that they were too busy, had a lot of design elements going on, and looking at it, I kind of see where he's coming from with that. But there's too much going on, and how is that going to achieve a mature audience? Because what younger audiences don't want to look at these things. Older audiences want to see this bleak, meshed up mess to it. I don't get that. There is a key to simplicity and gain new fans. How are these suits going to gain new fans? I don't get it. What is your target demographic here? You're trying to appeal to a mature audience, but you're gaining new fans. So what, you want to get people in their 20s and 30s to watch this? Because you're going to get people in their 20s and 30s. I think is going to be the majority of people who are going to be seeing this film. Because I think this film's going to be at least PG, maybe PG-13, depending on where they're going with certain aspects to it. But I don't think you're going to get the 6 or 7 year old crowd to go see this, particularly with the television show out at the same time, because you're going to be starting a new season. I believe, yeah, you're going to start Ninja Steel basically a month before this premieres. So that's going to be odd timing if you're trying to you're not even going to try to tie the two things in. They are two separate entities, and they've made that clear. But again, it's messy. I don't get that. And here's something that I'm not really understanding because, okay, so this is a quote from the Entertainment Weekly article. Ours is an alien costume that grows on them that's not man-made, end quote. And I believe somewhere else it's like some sort of alien crystal goo is the way it's described. So now the suit is alive? Do we have a Venom symbiote thing kind of going on here? And if that's the case, how is that going to fit into the story? How does that fit into the mythos? Because keep in mind, what you have here is a reboot of the series, and you're introducing a new group or a new generation of fans to the Mighty Morphin era. Now, this film is likely going to set up the conflict between Zed and Rita, the 5 personalities and backstories to these characters, which they've obviously worked on. Then we got to figure out what we're doing with Rita, because she has a personal tie into the Rangers based on interviews with Elizabeth Banks and everything. We have to set up the conflict, we have to set up the powers, we have to set up the Zords, we have to set up the world building. But now we're throwing in this new element of these suits that are alien costumes, they're potentially alive, they're symbiotes. And then how's that going to tie into the backstory? Is that something that's tied in with the power coins? Is that something going to tie in maybe with Ninjor creating them? Because remember, in Power Rangers, Ninjor created the coins, not Zordon and Alpha. Which, by the way, we have no mention of Zordon Alpha or anybody at this point, which is kind of odd. So on top of everything else we're trying to reintroduce to this generation, we're introducing new elements that have never been present in the series at all. The closest we got to any type of living armor, I believe, was most likely the Battleizer that Shane had, Ninja Storm, from Skyla, because she died and basically her body became his Battleizer. That's like the closest that we've gotten. I'm sure there may be another example out there, but that's like, why do we need this element? Why are we throwing this new wrinkle into the film? Because Is it possibly that there's a storyline where they have to accept the suit or the suit has to accept them or something? Is it tied into how they're chosen as Power Rangers? That's something I would like to go ahead and know, but even if we do know it, doesn't that seem a little unnecessary? Why can't it just be the simple we morph and we have these outfits? And honestly, I have no problem. If this is the metallic armor of the film, then I would be totally okay with it. If this was an upgraded form, I'm okay with that. But as a standard form, I'm not okay with that. And again, this gets into the bigger discussion of spandex versus armor. As I said, when we looked at the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie, I get why they did it there. They wanted a bigger budget, they wanted to separate it from the television show, and they felt that using spandex would not be in the best interest of the film. But when they designed those suits, ultimately what we got were just like the show, more streamlined, what honestly did look like armor, but it was still recognizable as the Power Ranger helmets. Compare the Black Ranger's helmet in that film to the Black Ranger's helmet in this image. Which one looks more like the show? Which one actually looks like the iconic Black Ranger outfit? Certainly not this one from the new movie. They knew what they were doing to gain the Mighty Morphin imagery in that first film. And the fact that they went armor, that was fine. Plus, it was a separate continuity. Now, yes, this is a separate continuity, but this looks nowhere like what they're going for. Again, look at the Yellow Ranger. Does that look like a saber-toothed tiger on her helmet? No, it doesn't. Not at all. I don't get it. I just don't understand where they're going with this design. Who thought this was a good idea? I mean, I really like to know about these Hollywood focus groups. I mean, how many of the how many people did they get to look at these and maybe talk about them that were Power Ranger fans or familiar with them? Did they even do focus groups? And who's behind this? Because again, we know Saban's behind it, and he knows marketing. That's why the hell do you think that Samurai and Megaforce had Go Go Power Rangers and was essentially a repeat of that theme? Because it's again, it's that mythos, it's that iconography. You recognize that from the Mighty Morphin, so you're trying to regain those things from the glory days. So much so that the Megaforce, are attempting to be cardboard cutouts of the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but they're not even doing that here. There's a vague diamond on there. They're the right colors. They look like dinosaurs, at least in one case, but again, I don't understand it. What is going on here? And again, here's the ultimate issue. It's between spandex and armor. Now, I get why certain superheroes have to have certain updates when going into film. I mean, look at Iron Man when he first appeared in the comics. And I'm not even talking about the way they changed his backstory, the conflict that he was involved in. That's just something that has to happen because time changed. And unless you're going to go ahead and set the Marvel Cinematic Universe during the Vietnam War, it's just not going to go ahead and work. But what I'm saying is, look at his original costume. Look how big and giant and ugly it looked. And even his subsequent appearances, even when he got into the first Avengers book, look how weird that it looked. So I understand that by the time they got around to the first Iron Man movie, they did a redesign that was more closely related to the iconic Iron Man costume. It just kind of made sense from a design standpoint. But look at heroes like Spider-Man. Spider-Man's been 5 films total, 3 Sam Raimi, 2 Amazing Spider-Man films, and of course he's going to be in Civil War. Now, this is not the Iron Spider, but they actually gave him a spandex costume in all 5 of those films, and they're giving him a spandex costume in the Civil War. Now, why is it acceptable to give Spider-Man a spandex costume for his film, or his films, but it's not acceptable to give Power Rangers spandex costumes for their films? I don't understand this whole idea of why they don't want the spandex costumes. Every time we really get to talking about Power Rangers on the big screen or reboots, people always bring up that they need to have armored forms, that they can't have spandex, that spandex just doesn't work. Now, Turbo Power Rangers movie, they had spandex, but the problem with that film was not the costumes, it was, a lot of other things. And the show itself has gone on for over 20 years using spandex costumes. Yes, they've had power ups. Yes, they've had armor add ons. But they've been spandex to the core, and they've been spandex in Sentai since the mid to early 1980s. Why can't it be spandex? Seriously, give me a legitimate reason why this Power Rangers reboot can't have spandex costumes. And for that matter, why can't they just use the original costumes? I mean, why can't they just say, hey, we're going to take the Zoo Ranger costumes that we have from the very first season and we're going to use them in this film? I mean, you don't see in Sentai and later Power Ranger series that they're showing up in armored suits, that they've upgraded them over the years. I mean, that's actually something completely different. Yeah, you can do that, have them upgrade, but they've kept the suits the same since day one in the show. So why does the reboot have to have armored suits? Why can't they be spandex suits? I mean, seriously, Spider-Man has a spandex suit. Even Daredevil is technically wearing a spandex suit. He does have some padding on it, which looks like armor, but it's at least consistent with his comic book appearances. I mean, heck, the Punisher has a T-shirt in his films. Wouldn't it be odd if they gave him an armored T-shirt? Yeah, he wears body armor under it, or sometimes over it, but they never make his T-shirt a living, gooey crystal symbiote or anything, do they? No. They try to keep to the looks in the films. Even look at Superman. You know, in the 1970s, they gave him a spandex costume, looked fine. Superman Returns, they gave him a spandex costume. And then look at Man of Steel, they gave him a spandex costume. Superman is able to keep his iconic look, and it works just fine. Now, there are heroes like Batman, where you take a look at the Adam West costume, and it doesn't particularly translate into a Dark Knight setting, and I get that. But the Power Rangers have always had it where the spandex is not spandex. You know, that's kind of what Dr. K said, and that's what we've known for years. So why does it have to be armor? Why can't it just be spandex? Why can't they just keep it consistently what they had? Because what I'm kind of afraid of with this is that people are going to look at this, people who don't know Power Rangers, who don't understand it, and they're going to look at this and go, oh, it's an Iron Man ripoff. It's a Transformers ripoff. Yada, 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 and all that. If they looked at the original spandex costumes, they can see that iconography. They can see that image and go, oh, this is not like Iron Man. This is not like Transformers. This is something completely different. I don't know what else to say, folks. I'm just like, I want to rant at it, but I really don't know what to say because I don't understand what they're really trying to do here. If they're simply trying to get off the Iron Man fame, well, keep in mind, it's not the suit that made Iron Man Iron Man. And Raptor, I know you're going to disagree with me on this, but Iron Man 3 was not Tony Stark 3. Iron Man is the person who's in the suit, okay? That's what the heroes are always about. It's about who is in the suit, okay? So to steal that imagery of Iron Man and put it on the Power Rangers is not going to make your movie better. I mean, you can make a great Power Ranger movie without them ever turning into Power Rangers, despite what the nostalgia critic may think. I'm hoping they have strong characteristics, or strong characters, but I just hope these suits are a joke. I really do. I hope this is like some sort of joke image that they look at and they're just like, no, fooled you guys, wait till the actual movie comes out. Now, do I want it to be like what they did for the first Ninja Turtles movie and switch sacks with the Shredder and all that kind of stuff? No, not really, but I would like to think that they listen to the fan community and basically say, you know what? We screwed up, guys. Sorry about that. Let's go back and change this. Let's fix this. Which is really what they should be doing, because when I look at this, these are not Power Rangers. When I look at this, this is bad fan art attempting to be Power Rangers while at the same time trying to steal from the Transformers and Iron Man because they think that that's what's cool. We don't go to see the Iron Man movies to see him fight in the suit, and we don't go to the Transformers movies to see unintelligible piles of metal that we can't focus on and look at, okay? We go for the characters, we go for the story. That's what we go for Power Rangers. But this is just not what Power Rangers looks like, mature or otherwise. You can tell an engaging and mature Power Rangers movie and gain new viewers by using spandex suits, or at the very least, suits that resemble the original outfits. So, I guess the most interesting thing out of this is see how people are going to cosplay at this point and see what fan wars debate between the armored look and the original look, and firmly put me on the original look, not because I'm a nostalgic fanboy, but again, the iconography just looks better, and this just looks like a mess. It really does. So, I think that's all I really have to go ahead and say. I'm sure I could probably say a lot more. Maybe when the movie comes out, I will, just say, I'll eat my words. I'll be like, oh no, I was wrong the whole time. And I hope I am. I hope this is going to be a great movie, and I hope these suits do work on some level. But I don't know. We're just going to have to see. We're just going to have to go ahead and wait. At the very least, I really hope they at least change the helmets and put dinosaurs on the helmets, because they have dinosaurs. Oh, and by the way, I will shoot somebody if the dinosaurs look anything like the Transformers, because the dinosaurs, again, do not need an update. They are perfectly fine the way they are, to where they don't need to be changed for a new feature film. If they look like Optimus Prime, where they have 15,000 moving parts and they don't stand still for 5 seconds, and we don't get them in clear sunlight to actually look at it, I'm going to be really pissed. I just want clean, simple, iconic looks. I don't want over-designed crap, which is what we have with these suits, and that's what I hope we're going to avoid getting with the Zords. So I've said my piece. Maybe I'll follow up on this later, but that's where it is. I don't like the suits. I don't understand the high heels for the girls. I don't understand why it's got to be some sort of living alien costume. I don't understand why the dinosaurs are not on the helmets, and I don't understand why we can't have spandex. That's all I'm going to go ahead and say for now. Leave your all's comments. I want to know what you guys know. Right now, it seems to be mostly negative from people, including myself. But what do you guys think? Positive, negative, somewhere in the middle? Please leave your comments and let me know what you think. Otherwise, thank you guys for listening. Have a good evening. And the tavern is now closed.